Hello, viewers. So, today we'll be exploring the general effects of global warming, but more particularly on how fossil fuels are a major player in global warming. So, what is global warming? Global warming is a general increase in the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere. This increase in the temperature of the atmosphere can have a number of drastic effects on Earth. Some effects include droughts, increased harsh living conditions, bushfires, and the rising of sea levels. So, what can be said about these drastic effects? Well, these drastic effects normally happen at a regulated, natural pace, but over the centuries leading up from the 20th coming up to the 21st century, we have seen an increase in occurrence of these drastic natural events. Now, at the same time, we can also see an increase in the usage of fossil fuels leading from the decades of the 20th century coming up to the current century. So what can we say from these two things? We can say that we can directly correlate the increase in temperature or the increase in these global warming related events with the increase in the usage of fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are the remains of dead plants and animals that have been buried under the ground and subjected to intense amounts of heat and pressure, heat and pressure over the course of millions of hundreds of millions of years. Now, with over the course of that such long of millions of years, you had these remains form into a mixture of different fuels. Now, because of this mixture, miners can extract this mixture. I mean, they have to extract this mixture and put it in a fractional distiller to be able to separate this mixture of fuels into a number of different usable fuels, which results in the production of, as mentioned, different fuels that can be used for different applications. Examples of these applications would include areas in the transportation sector, where you have fuel to power cars, airplanes, and boats. Another sector would be in the production of electricity, where you can have fuel that can be used to power generators that either charge batteries or run electrical appliances. What effect does the usage of fossil fuels have on the Earth in terms of global warming? The main problem with the usage of fossil fuels is the production of carbon dioxide. A fossil fuel is basically a hydrocarbon, and the process through which this hydrocarbon is used to produce energy by machines is through the process of combustion. In the process of combustion, a hydrocarbon is broken down to produce energy, which is useful to the machines, but as a byproduct, what is produced as well is carbon dioxide. Now the problem is that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and a greenhouse gas is a gas that traps heat. So, with the major usage of fossil fuels as an energy source, as a source of energy, you have a constant use of this fuel across the earth, since nowadays the world relies on machines. And most of these machines, if not safe to say, at least 90% of all machines across the world, run on fossil fuels. And they produce energy nonetheless through the process of combustion. Now, what happens is that you have a lot of machines combusting hydrocarbons, which results in a major production, in a major release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which results in a lot of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, producing gases that ultimately trap a lot of heat.
What
What
can be
can be
done
done
about
about
the
the
usage
usage
of
of
carbon
carbon
dioxide
dioxide
in
in
our
our
attempt
attempt
to
to
lessen
lessen
its
its
effects
effects
on
on
the
the
Earth
Earth
in
in
terms
terms
of
of
global
global
warming?
warming? Now, in
Now, in
recent
recent
years,
years,
governments
governments
have
have
issued
issued
regulations to
companies,
companies,
particularly
particularly
car
car
manufacturers,
manufacturers,
that,
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 that
that
get
get
them
them
to
to
reduce
reduce
the
the
amount
amount
of
of
carbon
carbon
dioxide
dioxide
that the
that
cars
cars
that
that
they
they
produce
produce
emit.
emit.
So these would be,
Of
of
course,
course,
emission
emission
regulations.
regulations. Now,
Now,
what
what
these
these
emission
emission
regulations
regulations
do
do
is that
is
they
that they
make
make
sure
sure
that
that
car
car
manufacturers
manufacturers
manufacture
manufacture
their
their
cars
cars
and they
they
set
set
the
the
cars
cars
to be
be
able
able
to
to
produce
produce
only a
only a
certain
certain
amount of
amount of
emissions of
emissions of
carbon
carbon
dioxide
dioxide
into
into
the
the
atmosphere
atmosphere
that
that
overall
overall
prevent
prevent
the
the
main
main
large
large
scale
scale
production of
production of
carbon
carbon
dioxide.
dioxide.
So
So
the
the
main thing
main
that
thing
is
that is
done
done
is the
is the
regulation
regulation
through
through
emission
emission
standards
standards
set
set
by
by
the
the
government
government
to these
to these
vehicles.
vehicles.
Now,
Now,
if
if
these
these
vehicles
vehicles
exceed a
exceed a
certain
certain
emission
emission
rate,
rate,
then
then
then countries
countries
have
have
regulations
regulations
to
to
prevent
prevent
these
these
cars
cars
from
from
coming
coming
into
into
the
the
country
country
in the
in the
attempt
attempt to lessen the effects that fossil fuels have on global warming. What is the future of fossil fuels? Now, recently, in the current day and age, what is happening is we're trying to do away with fossil fuels. Now, in the attempt of doing that, we have come up with alternative energy sources apart from the usage of fossil fuels. Now, the most prevalent alternative form of energy that we can find that is able to be successfully used and produce a sufficient amount of energy to be used to make for daily functions, for the function of things in the world, would be electrical energy. Now, this is a very clean form of energy, and it is good because it is a renewable form of energy. It doesn't require the combustion of anything. It just takes energy in a renewable way. Some examples of the way in which electrical energy can be produced renewably and like environmentally friendly would be in the areas of wind energy. You have solar energy, and you have hydro energy, as well as geothermal energy. Now, all these are renewable sources, and they are environmentally friendly ways of producing energy that can be used that that which energy can be used in the same way in the energy that you get from from machines that use combustible fuels, which are fossil fuels. So in in that case, in that scenario, we have a sufficient alternative. However, you cannot. It is true that you cannot altogether do away with the use of fossil fuels, as they can be used in some ways that renewable electrical energy can't be used. So what is trying to be done at best is just a very good regulation of fossil fuels in a way that it lessens the detrimental effects it has on Earth as a whole in terms of global warming. So what can be done is the good regulation of it, but at the moment it is slowly sliding out with the introduction and the usage of electrical energy, which is a more environmentally friendly form of energy.